Dying Light 2 Stay Human is the sequel to 2015 zombie parkour jump the game. So you play as Aiden Cadwell, a pilgrim looking for his sister. His travel leads him to Villador, where the game takes place. So this game is a good while after the first one, and the world has gone truly to shit.
The world's greatest minds came together and found a vaccine against the Haran virus.
A few moments later.
It didn't take long for a variant of THV to escape into the world once more.
Let's go ahead and talk about that. And yeah, no, I'm not going to be giving any spoilers to the main story for what that's worth. It's a zombie game, so the world is full of, well, zombies. When you first start playing, you won't be quite in Villador yet. You start in the countryside tutorial area where the game shows off its pretty side and the basic controls. After that, you will be in your first real open world area, known as Old Villador. This area are where the buildings are an older European style. They are still reasonable in size, especially the towers in the area. The towers and electrical plants can be handed over to either of one of two factions, the PK or the Survivors. The PK being more of a militaristic faction, and the Survivors, well, they're just people trying to survive. You can see the difference mostly once you conquer either of the aforementioned water towers or power stations. The factions will take up residence in multiple areas in the zones which the utility buildings are in. The PK will have much more fortified areas, where the Survivors would set up much more thrown together buildings, but with stuff like farmlands included in and around the area. The faction you choose also leads to certain environmental advantages. Both factions' advantages increase the more utility buildings you give them. You won't, however, find both faction advantages in the same occupied area. So it's better to just give all the utilities to a single faction each playthrough. Both factions will always reward you with more safe zones where you can rest, store, trade, and craft items. With trading, I recommend buying up all the crafting materials they have each time you are in a safe zone. You can basically sell all of your valuable goods with a single button, so always trade them out for useful crafting goods. The Craftmaster is how you learn and upgrade blueprints. You buy the basic first level blueprint with old world money, the in-game currency. Upgrading those blueprints will cost zombie trophies of a certain rarity, found on different variants of zombies, and also military tech found in old airdrops scattered around the city. You also have access to a room of your own in all safe zones, where you can pass the time or store things you don't want to sell. The first part of the city, Old Villador, is where you will be using running and jumping to get around a lot. When you finally get to the inner city, traversal changes drastically. The traversal being one of Dying Light's selling points. In this game, it continuously evolves as you play. You start off the game with basic climbing and jumping, and by the end, you're swinging around with a grappling hook and flying from air vent to air vent with a paraglider like a mad fucker. You can upgrade your parkour skills with one of the two skill trees in-game. You gain XP like Skyrim, for example, by just performing these actions. The other skill set, obviously being combat. None of the perks are just boring flat percent damages either, so they all like give you new moves and add to different ways of playing the game. Combat tends to vary from enemy to enemy, so if you're fighting a zombie versus a human, fighting zombies tends to be really easy one-on-one, like at least for the basic types. The numbers, that's where the zombie threat comes in, because they will just like jump you like multiple, and because it's continuously first person, you'll get hit in the back just like that. But now, if you're fighting a human, a single human is a lot more intelligence. So, like, they'll adapt to your fight style, and like, so you have to change up the ways you're doing damage. For example, you can't just continuously keep on throwing knives at them, because they'll start dodging, and then they'll approach at you very like menacingly. So there's 4 primary weapons in the game. There's one-handed melee, two-handed melee, crossbows, and bows. There's also no guns in this one. They do exist actually, but only to a very limited extent with the secondary items. They're like basically like just muskets. So some other secondary weapons or like items include things like Molotovs, throwing knives, firecrackers to like lure the zombies away. So you also get like armor pieces that play to like certain builds in the game. The 4 builds off the top of my head are tank, brawler, medic, and ranger, and they all fit the roles as they do in any other game. Many of the primary weapon types have skills you can acquire, such as swinging around like a fucking Bayer blade with a melee weapon, or like a slow motion bow matrix shot. These skill trees become unlockable after you have previous perks in the tree and the right health or stamina requirements. You can get health and stamina upgrades by finding old GRE catches with inhibitors in them. I think it's 3. Yeah, you need 3 inhibitors to upgrade either your health or stamina. So both the skill trees, also their XP skills delivery is doubled at night. The night is definitely when all the crazy fuckers come out. While you can find other variants of zombies during the day, it is a much rarer occurrence, well, unless you're going to dark zones during the day, because this is where the pre-mentioned crazy fuckers hide from the sunlight. These areas are something you can explore at night because all the mad zombies are at the pub, or tearing Bob's face off because he got too close to a screamer. Screamers are the loud fuckers that start the fight, then fuck off out the back door. Once you get too close to a screamer and it has time to scream, it'll alert the other zombies. Then a chase will commence. There are 4 levels to a chase. It is advisable at the start of the game you run your hairy ass back to the nearest UV lighted safe zone, because at level 3, volatiles start appearing. The alpha mad fuckers. The alpha mad fuckers are basically super zombies. They have multiple powerful abilities and a sledgehammer of a right hook. There tends to be at least one of these in a dark zone during the day, so if you're exploring a dark zone and you notice that the clock is starting to approach 7 AM, you might want to get your ass out of there, because Big Bubba Alpha Mad Fucker is about to come home, and God knows what he's about to do to it. If you survive the night, then you'll basically be rewarded all the XP you've already earned again, as well as the sweet loot in the dark zones. When most of the mad fuckers aren't home, this is also the narrative reason why people leave the safety of the UV lights, which the mad fuckers don't like, and UV light stops the infection from spreading if you are bitten. So, in my mind, this is where the game falls short. A lot of the time, the characters had very unrealistic reactions to events and actions you do in the game. At one point, they'll be all Mr. Grumpy Bums, and then literal seconds later, they'll be your best friend and happy to see you. It's like they didn't just ask you to go fall into a dark zone and get spit roasted by a couple of volatiles. Also, I'm not sure if it's because I was distracted by a lot of the game's side quests and content, which consisted of stuff like bandit camps, dungeons, dark zones, basically dungeons, various puzzles, and heaps more. But the main story seemed a little over the place, but still obvious to see where it was going in the end. All the decisions you made didn't feel like they had a lot of weight to them, despite the game selling them as actual critical moments. But apart from that, all the writing and crap fucking characters aside, the game was a hell of fun. And I could just play another 40 hours of just going drop kicking zombies and jumping around like a monkey on meth. So in conclusion, I really enjoyed this game, and the potential for post-game is really good, since the first one had an absolute shit ton of it. Apart from the writing, this game has given 2022 a great start for gaming. A lot of the side content wasn't just tedious shit like a lot of open worlds. The game is constantly just balls to the wall action when you're doing anything aside from dialogue. The background lore in the game seems pretty solid. I just feel a lot of the current story had no idea what it wanted to do moment by moment. In short, the game is just good old fashioned fun. I could honestly play this for another 40 hours easy. And I recommend you do, if you love just to do cool shit in games. So that's it, and I hope you enjoyed. Catch you later. Todd Howard. Fucking Todd Howard. John Howard. Catch you later. Alright, bye.